Hello, YouTube. I am Vince White. I am an employment attorney, and on this channel, we display the beautiful Chrysler Building in all its glory. No, on this channel, we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. Now, I just made a video where I explained why I'm flinching from time to time. Like an idiot, my dentist talked me into getting my teeth whitened. Spoiler alert, they did not become white. They're still yellow, but now my teeth hurt a lot when I talk. So occasionally I'm grimacing and flinching because it's like someone is shooting my teeth with laser beams. But the show must go on. So we have a question here from YouTube user Philip. And YouTube user Philip asked us two questions. We answered it, his question, I think it should come out the day before this video comes out. And his second question is as follows. Philip asks, in many of your videos, at least the ones I've watched, making someone whole usually means getting monetary compensation. I wanted to ask about non-monetary compensation, such as reinstating you to your job and or establishing institutional norms and policies which make the workplace a less hostile environment and less likely to harbor discriminatory behavior. And that stutter was not anything wrong with the pros, but with my face. What if you're actually not interested in money and solely interested in making the workplace a better place for everyone? Would the other side believe you? Would they take you seriously? I'd like to know more about what you think about non-monetary aspect mediation. Okay. So let me first say that I have settled cases for things like that. I have settled cases for non-monetary. Non-monetary is broad, right? Non-monetary can be equity, it can be a seat on the board, it can be a variety of things, including the ability to hire and fire, a certain title. Like, there's so many things that can be non-monetary. Here, you specify, though. You specify that you have some institutional changes that you believe could make the place less discriminatory. And I have also settled cases for those things as well. Now, here's the problem with that. I suspect you are not Merlin, the Wizard of Camelot. So, and I'm trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be shitty. 90% trying to be funny. But I'm guessing you don't have magical powers. So it's not like you have the ability, and many people have tried. Let's note that. It's unlikely you have the ability to reach into someone's head and take the shitty piece of them that hates others and is discriminatory out of them. And so too, is it somewhat unlikely that you have the institutional changes that would make the world a better place. And I'm being facetious here. I'm trying to be funny. This is not me trying to like make fun of what you're saying. But that leads us to the question of, okay, so like what would the changes be and would they actually be meaningful? And the answer could be yes. It could be that you have the answers for everyone or even just for your specific workplace, right? But let's look at it from the perspective of opposing counsel. Oh, this fucking guy. This guy. And Philip, I have no idea who you are, what you are, but let's hypothetically say you're Caucasian, right? This fucking white savior piece of shit thinks he's going to come in, rewrite the rules, and end the discrimination, protect everybody. That is the best possible response from opposing counsel. The more likely response is, oh, this again? With the fake theatrics? Pretending like he doesn't want money? How much are we going to have to... Vince, get over here. Vince. What is your client talking about? How long are we going to have to hear this bullshit, Vince, from your effing client before they get down to what they actually want? I'll be like, no, I've been working with this person for literally a year now. This is what they want. Vince, you are not smart enough to lie this well. You're full of it. I know your client's full of it. What do they want? I'm not going to waste my time in this mediation if they're not going to tell me what they really want. These conversations happen. Part of why they happen is because there's a thing that goes on where a lot of people say a lot of things about what they want because they feel like they have to. And you might spend 6 hours working on getting them the things they want. And then 6 hours in that mediation, they just slide in there and they say, oh yeah, and that 30 mil too. I would be thrilled to win my client 30 mil. But it is tough to argue that you just want to make institutional changes for the good of humanity when you're asking for 30 mil, right? I'm not saying you shouldn't get both those things. Like, if we can make an institutional change, that's worth fighting for. That's a good and important thing. I think there's no question. And I don't think you can't fight for that because you're going for money. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. You can fight to be made whole, in whatever sense the law allows you to be, generally monetarily, and also fight for institutional change to do good things. Those two things can both be true in someone's heart. They can be the goal. The goal can be twofold or manyfold, right? That's why it's important to listen to your client. So I'm not mocking these people, but I am saying it's common, especially in the eyes of the defense counsel, but also in a lot of plaintiff attorneys' eyes, where people play a lot of make-believe about what they want, and they don't actually want any of those things, and they want money. And I share this with you not to defame plaintiffs or anything like that, because we're all human and imperfect, and we all do funny things. We're in a situation where we don't know the lay of the land. We've never done it before, right? Listen, our first time at anything is rough, and most plaintiffs, it's their first time ever, right? In this field, certainly. But I raise this not to mock those people, because they're human beings behaving like human beings who have been through a lot. Nothing they're doing is wrong or silly or stupid. It's just not what they're not necessarily being completely upfront about what they want, right? Which might even be smart. This one's probably not smart, but generally speaking, you don't always have to tell what you actually want right off the bat, right? That's not necessarily a bad idea. But a lot of times, what happens is, especially again in the eyes of defense counsel, everything you talk about for the 6 hours of mediation from the start, turns out nobody cared about those things. And I want training, and I want a new employee handbook, and I want diversity, this and that, and all these things. And, that is the only way we're going to settle my case. And I've been in those mediations, and opposing counsel has come and said, listen, I've been waiting all my career to effectuate the change that you have pushed for today. I got my client to take it. We're going to take the deal. We're going to do every one of the 10 things you want. Amazing. Oh my God. We've had positive change. We have actually done something besides play whack-a-mole with defendants, right? Like, one of the problems of this industry is I can smack around a bad person or a bad employer and rip money out of them and give it to my client, right? And that's great. That's something. It's not nothing. But we're generally not changing hearts and minds. We'll go back to that theory of, sucking the hate out of someone. We're not making better humans. We're making more clever humans. We're teaching them fear. We're teaching them to plan how they display their hate in more careful manners, but we're not making them less hateful, right? In my opinion, generally speaking. So it's awesome. Defense counsel comes, yes, all 10 of the institutional changes you suggested will do. We would take your offer. Let's settle it here and now. Let's get it in the settlement agreement. I feel like we've really achieved something today. And then it's entirely possible the person will say, oh, I don't actually give a fuck about those things. I want the 30 mil. That's fine. That's that person's right. But what have we been doing for the last 6 hours? It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen sometimes. And so defense counsel, when they hear your things, are going to be like, bro, nobody cares. Philip, no one cares. We don't believe you. We don't think you have the answers. We don't think you have the deep-seated belief that you actually want to change things. And we just don't particularly care. This is a dark video. Yeah, this is a dark video. Listen, but I guess I'm being as honest as I can here. Like, defense counsel are going to hear the things you're asking for, and there's a really good chance you're going to be like, this guy doesn't actually want these things. He doesn't have the answers, and this is a waste of my time. And I can spend days, weeks, months, years convincing them that these things are actually things you want. And I may be successful. But that will be an uphill battle. No question. So I like and respect everything you're saying. I believe you in what you're saying you want. I do not think if you're using it as a tactical move in your mediation, I don't think it has any value. Like, no one involved cares. The mediator doesn't care. The attorneys don't care. No one thinks that they're going to cure discrimination at this institution that day. Really, that mediation is just to take a crack at making you whole for what was done to you specifically. And let's be honest, the way the damages are calculated, the way the statutes are written in most jurisdictions, no chance it does that. It can pay you lots of money, but kind of as you noted here, Philip, lots of money doesn't really make you whole. Now, we can get you reinstated, potentially. That could be something. We can protect you. There's so many things we can do, right? But the law is always going to default to, well, let's get them some money. And generally speaking, the defendant, the employer, is always going to default to, let's get them some money. And the law does that because it's simpler. That's how they figured out how to do this. That's the best idea they could come up with. How are we going to make a law that fights discrimination, and how are we going to give it teeth? They came up with the answer of money. And the employer, they don't want you back. They might. You could be incredible. You could be the best employee. You could make them so much money. But reinstatement's always a tough sell. Here's why. You've now had a case against them. You're already aware of the retaliation laws. You referenced them in your question. Now, any negative workplace consequence you suffer in your employment after they reinstate you, from anyone, any single person who works for that university, that academic institution, any of them could do something nasty to you. I could make an argument. If someone steals your lunch, it might have been motivated by retaliation, right? Well, they wouldn't have stolen his lunch, but for the fact that he complained. They're making him suffer because he complained. What just happened there? Some idiot stole your lunch. And we're looking at a 6-figure lawsuit. And you've got someone like me who's going to just cover the expenses for you potentially. You know what I mean? Like you're very empowered once you've brought these complaints, right? You're very, very empowered. And the other side of that coin is the employer has massive liability because any idiot, they could hire a team to train every single person, 50,000 employees, wall to wall, every inch of the institution's papered with a "Don't Mess with Philip" poster. Takes one idiot. One idiot. One idiot gets mad at you, slashes your tires. It's on camera. We know it was an employee of the university. Great. That's a potential retaliation claim. So the reason they might not want you back is because they're well aware of that liability. They're well aware there's a burden shifting. The simple way to think of that is they could be viewed as guilty till proven innocent, which is a hell of a way to start a case. And the retaliation claims, as I think you know, Philip, they open up punitive damages. So that can get sizable, right? So they're going to say things like, yeah, I mean, obviously we never fire you, or if you're already fired, obviously it's not that we don't want you here, Philip, but we would love to give you a premium to go away. And I suspect they're not doing that because you're not amazing. It seems like you're very amazing. I know, like, this has been a dark video, and I fear that I've come off negative somehow towards what you're asking, but I'm not. I'm trying to give you context, not in how people will view you or how, what I think you're saying, but how your statements fit into the context of employment litigation and the things that go on, and the variety of ways that employment attorneys fall short of the mark when dealing with these cases, right? Like, the idea that you would say, I want to create institutional change, and a room of attorneys would say, yeah, I don't believe you. That sucks. That's super shitty. It really is. Like, you're doing a very good thing here. And I don't mean to rain on your parade, but you asked me a question, and I have to answer it in the context of actual employment litigation. And these defense attorneys are going to be skeptical. So I hope that answers the question. I'm a bit of a downer here in this video. Not my intent. I don't think it's because my teeth hurt. Very yellow. My teeth are very yellow. I don't smoke. This is just a tragedy. It is what it is. All right. Like, subscribe, everybody. Philip, I feel like this is a long and rambling video, and I feel like it was too negative, and I want to give you more answers here. I'm going to be doing a live stream relatively soon, I think next week. Maybe we can schedule that around you, and we can have a conversation, you in the chat, me answering the video, so I can do a better job of answering these questions, because I feel like I didn't give you as much as I want to give you. You're very clearly in a serious fight, and you care about what's right. And I'd like to be supportive of that if I'm able. So, sorry. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Helps me to help more people just like you.